Hello, Internet. Sir Mutton Chaps here. Welcome back to Dalnir. We're deeper into the crypt. We're gonna kill some faithful churchgoers, and I have no qualms with that. They must die. I switched out my helm piece there, as you saw. Just decided that AC was more important, and I think that's the better choice. A lot of people say that, and as a monk, well, there's just nothing more precious than that, other than weight. You've got to maintain your figure. So yeah, we're continuing. This time we're deeper into the crypt, and well, I'm basically the off tank. I'm keeping an eye on this area specifically as the main tank goes around and pulls things to our area. He's looking for a few rare mobs, and yeah, I just gotta call it out sometimes. I don't think I called it out here. That was kind of a mistake, but he pulled nonetheless, and I think we'll be fine. These are just blue mobs. Plus, he can kind of watch my hit point bar in the old group box there, and well, I gotta remember to take out the casters first. You'll notice that here in a few minutes. Our tank did die. Just gonna throw that out there. Kind of my fault. Kind of the healer's issue. A lot of things just kind of came at once. But I gotta remember to focus on the caster. Now I do that now very easily. It's almost obvious, painfully obvious. You got a healer, you got a caster, you got something. You need to interrupt the spells, you need to keep it and prevent it from healing the other mobs. And basically they put out more damage if you're not focused on them. So yeah. Now you can see there we just got some loot, a bow stick. Those are really, really good for getting your two-hand blunt up. Now if you could do that with some blue mobs, it'd probably be better because they don't put out a lot of damage, bow sticks. But they're really good. They have a very low delay, and for a two-hand blunt, that is one of the best things you can have. But it's really just a training tool, just to get your skill up, and then just stuff it in the bank and wait for somebody else to come along, some other monk friend. So yeah, that is a really good doohickey. I had that for a little bit. I only really needed it for a couple, I don't know, maybe a couple levels. I just used it intermediately. So yeah, that is definitely something you might want to pick up if you are having trouble getting your two-hand blunt up. But you really shouldn't be. Wu's Quivering Staff is a very solid two-hand blunt weapon. You'll come across other ones as well that are equally as good. I wouldn't recommend, what is it, Adamantite? I wouldn't recommend that one. It has an AE radius effect spell. It's just not really that good. But if you get your hands on it, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. And here we go. We've got the ad. I pulled quick enough, but I guess the aggro radius is just too much. And I think the Acolyte is the only caster. The follower is just a melee, isn't it? So I should be focusing on the Acolyte as he is casting. And I just took 143 damage right there. Yep. And we have something he pulled. So things aren't doing too good. He probably should have feigned death and not pulled it. But these are all blues, and we do have a healer. But in the end, Dot's got him. At least that's what he said. And so now it's up to me to kind of focus on killing the rest of these. The Acolyte is what I should be focusing on. Let's see if I do that. I do not. Good. Oh man, looking at this old footage just makes me cringe sometimes. I can't believe the stuff I pull. It's just, I mean, I don't pull it. The puller is the Shadow Knight, but the things that I get away with that nobody calls out, like why didn't you focus on the caster? It just seems like the obvious choice. You can root the melee mob, and then just focus on the caster. But well, we're alive. We're holding out. It wasn't that bad of a mistake. Well, actually, it was kind of egregious because we did lose our tank. But it was a confluence of mistakes on certain people's parts, including mine. I think I was at the top of the list there for poo-pooing on the whole group. But well, you live and you learn, and I certainly have learned. It's a learning experience. I'm not the best player out there. I'm certainly not the worst. I've really seen some bad playing out there. If you're a cleric, you really want to have several heals up in your gems. Now this healer we have, Meadow, he's really good. I'm not talking about him. I'm not referring to him in the least bit. He was on his toes. He knew a lot about Everquest, a lot more than I did. I haven't seen him on recently, though. It's kind of a bummer. Because he showed me around split paw. He showed me around a lot of other zones. Showed me the pathing of certain mobs. All sorts of stuff. But he was really good in Dalnir. We grouped up later on after having a lot of fun here. I got some really good loot. I think he just got experience because as far as loot goes, this is mainly a monk zone. There are a few other items that drop, as you'll find out in the coming episodes, and I believe later on in this episode as well. I'm not too sure. But it is mainly a monk-friendly zone. Lots of really cool items drop here. Most of them are no drop. The Crescent armor. Only a few pieces of those are really good. The rest of them kind of have, you know, not the best stats, but still fun nonetheless. Nothing to complain about or to get all pretentious about. It's just a game. Uh, now I want to go ahead and talk about a few things that are kind of exclusive to this server. Little irritations, if you will. There are certain bugs that you're going to have to work around, and there are certain noticeable differences between Project 1999 and original Everquest. You'll probably notice the first one if you're in the Freeport area, as I did. It is the boat to Butcher Block. That that little baby is entirely different. It looks so different from the original boat. Um, so if you do plan on going to Ocean of Tears, uh, you are forewarned. Your nostalgia won't be ruined, but the zone itself is inverted. Um, so if you're going from, let's say, Freeport to Butcher Block, you'll be coming upon the island that has the erudites on it. That's closer to what is that dinosaur? Elisuar? I can never pronounce his name. I believe if you can pronounce his name, uh, blood will shoot out of your nose. You will die within seconds. But yeah, you go to that island first, and Sister Island is what is it? I believe that's from Butcher Block, so it's inverted. I remember playing way back when and getting on the boat, and I remember this vividly because a necromancer trained a Sea Fury Cyclops to Sister Island, and I had just zoned in from Freeport on the boat, along with a cluster of other hapless newbies, and well, came to behold a trundling, a trundling Cyclops that just came right at us. I jumped off fast enough, but that was just a vivid memory for me, watching all those newbies get pawned on on the ship. Oh god, I think I swam to the other corner of the island and just kind of ducked over there because I was a melee that couldn't sneak or hide. I think it was just a warrior, but yeah, I was totally screwed. Didn't end up dying, but I had to wait for such a long time. A GM came and rezzed certain other noobs, and then I waited a while, and then I finally got on the boat. It just took up almost all of my playing time, but it was hilarious and it was fun, and I'm sure a lot of people got laughs out of it. Maybe not the noobs that died, but they got rezzed, so there are no complaints. But yeah, that was the biggest thing I noticed when I came on to Project 1999 a few months ago. Other things you'll notice, there is an invis corpse bug. It's not entirely common, but you will incur it throughout your playing time. The first time I noticed it was in Furonia Bay. I was in level 30s or so, around this level actually, in the footage. And somebody was out of charactering slash OOCing that they had lost their corpse somewhere in one of the tunnels. There are tunnels underneath Furonia Bay that lead to other areas in the zone. And they explained that there was one of the tunnels was submerged with water. So I decided, well, let me just go around and try to find this guy's corpse who had been adventuring, who'd gone a little too far off the beaten path. But well, I found it. I found actually two corpses because apparently he located it once, but couldn't find it again and couldn't reach it because the water was just too much. It proved too much for his lack of swimming skill. So I went ahead and dragged it, but I noticed that it wasn't in tow. It wasn't following me. And, well, I just went ahead and kept doing it because I got the message that said I was summoning the corpse closer to me. And I went ahead and dropped it off over by the bank in Furonia Bay. And he found it and he looted it and whatnot. But if this happens to you and it's your corpse, what you can do is you can click on someone who can actually see your corpse and then hit assist and then slash your loot. And then you can actually get your items back. Or another option is to just log out and then log back in. That usually fixes it. But yeah, it is a little a bit of annoyance. You're going to have to learn to come to expect it because it will happen occasionally. But it's not the biggest problem. As long as you remember that you are summoning a corpse and that you can't see it, so you just need to spam the hell out of that button so you don't lose it. Because if you lose it, you're going to have somebody else try to find it, or you're going to have to go wandering around aimlessly looking for an invised corpse, and that's just not fun. Especially if you're in a zone with wandering mobs like Dreadlands or Frontier Mountains. It's just not recommended unless you want to waste your time and you want to have, you know, a lot of frustration. And you want to have a really quick road to a receding hairline and some gray hairs. But well, that certainly is part of the game. I don't think it's game breaking. It adds to the frustration of original EverQuest. A couple other things you'll notice as well. You can't drop coin on this server. Now you can't drop bags and items, so you can do that ghetto transferring where you drop something off and then you log back into another character and pick it up. Got plenty of time to do that. I've never had any problems with doing that whatsoever. Kind of risky because the zone or the server could crash, so that's up to you. If you want to drop something that you don't really have too much attachment to, then certainly is an option. Now, one that just came up, one that I just found out that I'm not too sure actually exists in-game, is apparently all food and drink is consumed at the same exact rate. Now, I've been drinking milk and eating muffins throughout my gameplay for the most part, because drinking milk, hey, you can't get any cooler than that. Leon did it in the professional, so I want to be that cool. But well, I've recently decided to start drinking water and eating something else, something like fish or I don't know what, just random stuff. And I've kind of noticed a difference in the longevity of that, but that may very well be a placebo effect. I'm willing to admit that it's possible, especially if other people are saying that these things are occurring, that they're eating certain things and it's lasting the same duration. That has to really suck for anyone who bought Fuzzle Cutter Formula 500 or whatever it's called, because that's really expensive. Yeah, so you are forewarned if you want to fiddle around with that. I have actually kept a Plains Pebble in my inventory in one of my bags. Now that's just a vicious rumor. It's probably just a myth, really. I like to just have it there for an ornamental piece because, I don't know, I'm weird like that. I like keeping myths alive. If it is true, then hey, I've reaped the benefits. If it isn't, I've just lost one slot piece. That's it. Nothing to whimper and cry about. Nothing to bellyache about. And I like the way it just, I don't know. I like things like that. I wish it were true. Maybe I'm just really desperate to believe in it. I believe in you, Plains Pebble. I believe in you. It's like Seabiscuit or something. I don't know. Actually, never saw that movie. I don't know. Maybe I need to get up on my recent films. I haven't actually watched a lot of films, but well, that's neither here nor there. Actually, speaking of films, I heard a while ago. I was just combing through random forums. I think it was like a year ago. There was word of a potential EverQuest movie. Yeah, go figure. I don't know who would play in it. I know that there was some really good voice actors for EverQuest 2. I know Christopher Lee played. He did the voice of Sir Lucan Dalnir in EverQuest 2, and I believe Heather Graham was also involved. I know that's pretty interesting. I know the Call of Duty series has a lot of people in it. Gary Oldman does some of the voices, or one of them. I'm not too sure. I think they do multiple voices actually, because when you get hired on for voiceovers, it's kind of expected that you do more than one voice. Otherwise, you're just doing your own voice, you know, which is fine. I know Christopher Lee. I mean, anyone would love to have them on their project, especially if it's related to any kind of count. Except for those new Star Wars films. as much as I love Christopher Lee, I just couldn't get through them. Uh, Mr. Plinkett for the win. I'll say that. I do eat pizza rolls myself. Hmm. Actually, that's a lie. I don't eat pizza rolls. But I would if the choice came between them and the newer trilogy. I definitely would. I would take the greasiest, most fattening pizza rolls out there, and I would gorge on them readily. Uh, anyhow, getting off topic as I usually do. I want to go ahead and kind of point out here, me being the off tank in this session, that one of the most important things you can do as an off tank, as an assist melee, is when you do hit assist with your tank pulling more than one mob, wait a few seconds. Wait about maybe 5 to 10 seconds. More on the way of 5, but 10 wouldn't be bad either, depending on how many mobs there are. Wait, because there's nothing worse than breaking Mez. He's going to sort through the different mobs and make sure he keeps aggro with them before focusing on one. That's what I've noticed. That way, when the casters do try to Mez or root, they won't pull aggro. And the last thing you want to do is to assist him when he's scrolling through the mobs, attacking, the second, third, what have you. You wanna make sure that you're on the same page as he is or she. So yeah, that's a pro tip right there. Something I've learned. Definitely better to wait. I'd say about 5 seconds is good. 10 seconds is way too long, especially in the fights in Everquest that last like what, not even a minute. Yeah, you want to wait. You want to go ahead and kind of see where he's at, because I've had it happen on several occasions, and I broke Mez, but the tank apologized. It was kind of both of our faults because you got to have communication. Didn't happen here, I don't think, but it has happened, especially in lower Guck, when you have more than one mob that you're pulling. It can get hairy, so you want to wait. It's kind of like fear kiting with a monk. If you have J boots or you're sewed, you can chase after the mob. But what you want to do is you want to turn on and off your auto attack as you're in stride with the mob, because they zigzag all over the place. So you just kind of have to maintain your focus while you're playing and keep your eyes and ears open, because things can they can change on the drop of a dime. Mez can drop, root can drop, lots of things can go on. You can have ads. So with all that in mind, we're going to have part 3 coming up here in a little bit. Thank you for tolerating my scratchy voice, and I'll see you guys next time.